And now we have a new leader at both the top of the drivers and the team's standings. Welcome to the lovely Cheshire countryside, to a place in Little Budworth, just 8 miles outside of Chester city centre. Welcome to Oulton Park. And you're joined once again by your official commentary team, Alex Goldschmidt and David Christie. We've definitely had the rugs pulled out from under our feet this weekend, and now we're back for more punishment, aren't we, my Scottish learned friend?
Who said that? Yeah, you're absolutely right, Alex. It's been a crazy weekend for us both, and delighted to be back on the roll again here at eTeam BRIT. 4 weeks has just flown by. It feels like we've only just left Monza, but yeah, Oulton Park, a very special circuit. Obviously, I'd seen it on Assetto Corsa Competition, went to see it. It is just a beautiful circuit in real life.
It is indeed. It is the full variation. It's the 2.692 mile, 4.307 kilometre circuit. 17 turns, as hosted the likes of the Quick Fit British Touring Car Championship, British Formula 3, International Formula 2, the World Sports Car Championship back in the day, the European Touring Car Championship, and also the famous, and not really run much these days, the International Gold Cup of Oulton Park. Good evening to our learned friend, Mr. Adam Isilovic from the Simsport racing community. I think I've got a little bit of a idea of who he's going to be supporting this evening. That'll be multiple drivers. We have got some absentees. No Nick Foster, no Will Dendy. So that means Zansho Simport will not be scoring any points either through their drivers or through the team itself. They are currently leading the standings at the moment. Martin Buchan, unfortunately, was on BPEC duty, and you're going to see here. This is what is happening now, that Team Fordzilla Blue are leading the standings on 56 points. That's the pairing of Charlie Crossland and Dominik Alvarez, who was the winner last time out at Monza. Zansho Simport second. Simport Solutions taking the initial advantage after Kyalami, now dropped down to third. Simport Racing fourth ahead of Divario Corsa. Red Shell Racing, Team BRIT Nissan, eTeam Vasaro, Campbell Fire and Positive Perception. Good evening to our good buddy Mr. Steve Proudley. I hope you're keeping well as well. Good to see that you're with us, watching on, taking a look at the driver's standings coming in after 2 rounds. Charlie Crossland managed with a full set of ballast to get that 75 kilos worth of ballast on that Mercedes Evo at round Monza well enough to score another 11 points, taking P5, and puts him literally a point ahead of Dean Riley. Sean Campbell from Divario Corsa rounds out the top 3 and is tied on points with race 2 winner Dominik Alvarez. Robbie Stapleford now joins the championship, but as a sole entry in the Zansho Simsport 2, very reminiscent of the first season of the eTeam BRIT GT Challenge. Robbie Stapleford will be running in a McLaren 720S, but he carries the 66 kilos that he gained by taking second at Monza. Nick Foster is behind the likes of Regan Mitchell and Chris Pinchback. So Regan Mitchell last time out third at Monza, so he'll have 57 kilos aboard that Ferrari. Chris Pinchback, a solid set of ninth place finishes so far. Kieran Vidago and the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Bobby Trundley, who was singing our praises on the commentary for the opening round of the Simply Race Endurance Series yesterday. So as I said, we have put ourselves through the ringer. David was on other duties as well, and I was at Snetterton on Saturday. So yeah, we do love what we do, but we do get tired.
There's a phrase that goes around, and that is, today, Alex, I feel like a burst couch. That is the only phrase really that I can use. But look, this is such a privilege. I say this time and time out, and I always hope people don't think we're just saying it for the sake of it. But it is, I mean, it's so cool. We get to be part of this. So yeah, I mean, it's great to be here and roll on to Oulton Park, Alex.
Well, before we get on to qualifying and a few more other things, let's have a look back at the highlights from race 2 out of 8 from Monza in Italy. Here we go. Round 2, eTeam BRIT GT Challenge. Are we ready? Are we steady? The green light has been given, and Alvarez has got the jump on Goldschmidt going down into the Rettifilio. And there's been a turnaround, and already Rich Smith has already found himself in the barriers, and that has caused carnage.
It is a really, really good start for Dominik Alvarez. You've got to also say it was a pretty poor start, Alex, for those Simsport Solutions cars.
But it's Schmidt versus Alvarez at the front. Oh, now we've got dramas there. Now that was Will Dendy on the start-finish straight. With car number 76, which was Rich Smith, and oh, now
that was Charlie Crossland.
Regan Mitchell closing on Robbie Stapleford, going into the braking zone, thinks better of it.
Robbie Stapleford, it's not going to happen. It's going to be onto the brakes then for Pinchbeck. I think he's too far back, surely. No, he makes it stick, and yeah, that could have been a little bit worse than it was, but yeah, Pinchbeck gets that done.
Spooner now, trying to get the run on the McLaren. Don't tell me he's going to go through there like that. And he's got through. Be Michael Tyler coming out, and then all of a sudden, that's a 50-50 on that.
Turn one, Bobby Trundle's going to try and be late on the brakes again, very, very gently round for the both of them. This is what I love about it. That is what a Settle Corsa competition is about. There's enough room for those two cars to be side by side, try to keep these two in check, but knowing that there's a high potential for collisions, and Sean Campbell tries to go around the outside. Oh, that is a beautiful, beautiful move there, Alex.
Luke Pound has just obliged and gone exit stage left, and then Dean Riley's decided to go up the inside of Bobby Trundley, of all places, through the Parabolica. So we're now halfway through the 30-minute qualifying session for round 3 out of 8 for season 3 of the eTeam BRIT GT Challenge. As we will now find out who is going to be at the top of the timesheets come this round. And at the moment, for those wondering, you can see in the chatters, whichever you're watching on, YouTube, Facebook Live or Twitch, pitwall.live/timing/Simsport. That is where you can find out how everyone is getting on at the moment. And in the meantime, despite having 39 kilos on that car, Charlie Crossland's got provisional pole from, of all people, we were talking about this man on Friday afternoon, weren't we, David? Mr. Bobby Trundley in the Nissan, less than 0.16 behind in second.
Oh, that's amazing, isn't it? Because I was right at the end of our little preview show. I was like, actually, you know, Bobby Trundley could do this, and I never actually for a minute seriously thought it, but here we are in the big bad Nissan GTR, second place. That's an effort and a half.
Okay, Joel Schmidt, who was on the front row, goes provisional pole by 45 thousandths of a second. The German driver in the number 74, running alongside David Simon in Team Fordzilla Orange. I think what we're going to do now, we're going to do something a little bit different, something I don't do very often, but we're going to go, if we can, on a hot lap. Let's see if we can stick with Max Spooner in the number 63 Lexus RCF GT3 from eTeam Visaro. So across the line, now heading down into the right-hander here at Old Hall Corner. And then it's the run towards the dip here, down the avenue. And then you're going to see a little bit of a roller coaster jaunt down the hill through Denton's, into the sweeping left here at Cascades. And then it's the run up towards the far part of the circuit. Very fast and flowing here, up through Lakeside, before the left-hander here at Island Bend. You've got to really coax it through, but keep the car pulled to the left-hand side as hard as you can. We were talking about that particular part of the circuit, myself and Dave, during the previous show, that if you get it wrong going into Shell Oils, a little bit of a twitch there from the car as he tries to hit the power coming out of Shell Oils corner. Through into Britain's. So it's a quick sort of a flick-flack chicane, so to the left, to the right, down hilltop, and then we're going to have another chicane coming up very shortly at the bottom of the hill here, down into Hislops, which will then lead into Knickerbrook, and then there's just a few more corners to go. Temperature still trying to be at a premium, but also the tyre temperature is going to be quite crucial here. Out of Knickerbrook, up through Clay Hill, through Water Tower, and this is where you're really building the speed and the commitment here at Oulton Park International. On the brakes hard, down into Druids, maybe drop down a gear or two. It's a double right-hander through there. Under the Oulton Park Bridge, there is a yellow flag out at the moment, but through into Lodge Corner, it's the final right-hander on the circuit. Down the dip through Deerleap, and that's a hot lap of Oulton Park International, 2.692 miles.
A really, really fast-flowing, wonderful circuit to drive round. A couple of flashpoints that we're just about to see here, coming round Island Bend down into the Shell Oils here, the Shell Oils corner. As we said, it's that grass on the right-hand side. So if we see cars going two abreast into that corner, almost certainly one's going to be off onto the grass on the right-hand side. And that doesn't normally say anything too bad, but once you're on there, there's no traction. You're almost always going at a heavy rate of knots, and it will end badly for that specific car. The other thing as well is, you might have noticed, Alex, from the onboards, a lot of the cars not taking too much of the curbs, and the difference being is that these British GT tracks, and again, I've experienced this for myself, the curbs are a very unusual breed. They look just flat, they look just like normal race track curbing, but they're actually very specially raised and profiled. So what happens is they're serrated, so when your car goes over them, the car does not like it at all. And what that does in the Settle Corsa Competition is it rapidly decreases the tyre pressure in the tyre that goes over that curb. So what you want to do is stay off those curbs, otherwise you'll end up likely getting a slow puncture in that tyre, which is going to lead to some huge accidents.
Right, okay, so in the battle for pole position as Daniel Hyde goes, exit stage left, going through Old Hall. David Simon, one of 4 Team Fordzilla cars. Charlie Crossland, fresh off a victory on the opening round of the Simply Race Endurance Series alongside Jack Ashton and Sean Arnold last night. So Charlie might be one of the youngest in the field, but he is rather committed. We know he's very, very rapid as well. And at the moment, as things stand, the top 10 rounded out by Kieran Vidago, covered by a fraction over a second, as David Simon goes P12 in the number 64. Rounding out the top 15, that is Mark Neutlings in the number 555 Bentley Continental GT3. Good to see Chris Pinchbeck's mum, Jean, watching along as well, sharing for all everyone from the Simsport racing community, which includes the Simsport Solutions guys, but especially her son Chris. Rich Smith at the moment. Now, Rich Smith has had a very, very difficult couple of rounds. I mean, especially Monza, and he was on for pole there, and he came out a bit too wide coming out of Lodge Corner and going into Deer Leap. And you said about flashpoints, that's a very important flashpoint there, because if you get it wrong coming out of Lodge, but then I'm just hearing that Chris Pinchbeck is 0.3 up. That could put him into the top 7.
Yeah, that would be huge if he's able to hold that on. The other thing that we always talk about is the importance of qualifying. Now, I would argue at this particular circuit, qualifying is probably one of the most important parts of this entire race event, purely because overtaking at Oulton Park is so difficult, Alex. It's so tight, it's so narrow that trying to get past is going to be very, very difficult unless you try and outbrake. That's certainly how I had to try and make my moves, is making almost wild lunges into the corners, and we both know that it takes two to tango in this championship.
Well, someone who's tangoing around with 75 kilos, Dominik Alvarez, has just put the 510 Team Fordzilla Mercedes up into P7, and that is just over three-quarters of a second off of the time set by Joel Schmidt. So at the moment it is a Team Fordzilla 1-2, but one being the orange team and one being the blue team, so it's orange leads blue in Team Fordzilla land. Good to see Dean Riley firing a little bit further back up the front of the field. Well, the thing is, this is a local track to him. We've also got a new entrant, and we finally have the Honda NSX GT3 Evo. James Haskell from X-Kart Esports. X-Kart is the UK distributor for TB Kart here over in the United Kingdom, and a few of the drivers at Team BRIT, and also eTeam BRIT will know him very well. Matty Street runs that. Matty was racing with the Team BRIT Summer Series, which then morphed into what we have now. And as I say that, Rich Smith has just gone provisional pole by a tenth with 7 minutes to go, David.
Yeah, that's a bit of a turn up for the books. Great to see that. Jumped up there in the number 76, and quite considerable margin as well, 1/10 of a second over Joel Schmidt. So cars are going to have to get a move on, but as we always see, Alex, this is go time. These next 5 minutes are just going to be absolutely crazy. Cascades is such a fast corner, isn't it? That sweeping left-hander down the hill. I've got a feeling we're talking earlier on about flashpoints. I think that is going to be another one of them. It's quite tempting to want to stick the nose in on the inside, but if you have a car, if you're on the outside, you've actually got the better line, because you get the ability to put the foot on the accelerator and just get a much better run out of that corner.
Well, Charlie Crossland going through Britain's being followed by Robbie Stapleford, so we now have another McLaren 720S GT3. Because of the grid allocation, no more than 6 cars, so that's 3 teams of 2 cars can run the same vehicle. If he decides to join the championship and someone has already got that car, well, you're out of luck. And Robbie Stapleford, he opted to go for Woking's finest, so good to have him with us on the grid. Now, there was a lot of discussion in the chat on Discord. So effectively, Robbie Stapleford was a substitute for Nick Foster during round 2, but he's now entered the championship as a sole entry, so he becomes Zansho Simport 2 in terms of the team, as Charlie Crossland runs toward the line. 33 thousandths is the margin between him and Rich Smith for provisional pole with 5 1/4 minutes to go. As I was saying, now normally if Robbie was a new entry, it's a 45 kilo ballast that the car automatically gets, and that's what Mr. Haskell has this evening. But it is his local circuit as well, so he's looking forward to the challenge, and he's currently 19th at the moment. So he did reapply with the Mercedes, but because they've reached the maximum 6, what happens is that the points for round 2 for Robbie Stapleford stay with him, but the constructor points stay with Zansho Simsport. So Zansho 2 joins as a team, but with 0 points from round 3 onwards. So just to give people a bit more of an understanding. So, I mean, it's good to have him on board as well. He's rather rapid from what I hear, we saw last time.
Well, I mean, Robbie was second last time out, and that's no mean feat for... I hate using the word rookie with Robbie, because that is like the worst possible word that you could use to describe Robbie Stapleford. He ain't new to this game, and he certainly knows how to hustle that car. Interesting to see how he handles the McLaren tonight, but it's a good car. I don't think it's going to have the upper hand here, but the fact that, I mean, if you look at Bobby Trundley getting the GTR in the top 5, I think that says all you need to know. That is an inspiration for whatever you're deciding to drive around this track tonight.
Yeah, a little bit of a run wide there for Luke Pound, who's just aborted his lap coming out of Old Hall and going exit stage left at the Avenue. So brings out the yellow flags. Mark Neutelings, who finished in 8th position. He's going to have, well, he's got 21 additional kilos to that Bentley Continental GT3 as he's about to make his way through Deer Leap. Currently 14th at the moment, 1.275 seconds off of provisional pole. And the Dutch driver goes across the line, and that might have just been an outlap. Daniel Hyde from Cadan Casual Apex now makes his way through Britain's, and that 5.2 litre naturally aspirated V10, mid-mounted rear-wheel drive. I mean, it's a lovely looking car, the Lamborghini. It's one of the more aggressive cars in GT3 racing.
It is, but not just in GT3. I mean, as a normal car itself. I mean, when you say as a supercar, especially to gentlemen, Alex, of our generation, you know, it was a poster child when we were growing up. The Lamborghini Diablo.
Was that a low blow? I felt just.
Well,
then?
hardly, because I was including myself in that one. So.
Oh, thank God for that! You mentioned it.
I said gentlemen of our generation, but no. In all seriousness, we were growing up.
Yesterday was a long day. So for you and, well, for all of us, because it is what it is.
But no, I mean, the Lamborghini has always been one of those types, one of those marks that you just drool over. They always love to be different in their styling. You can always recognise the Lamborghini, and you know the Huracan GT3 is just an absolute weapon to take round. I cannot tame this thing at all. I've tried having a go at the Settle Course competition in this car, and I just do not have the ability, the talent, the skill to keep control of that. And when it is absolutely on rails, it is so blisteringly fast. But for me, it's like the Audi. It's very, very unpredictable. That snap oversteer that will send you to the nearest barrier with no warning whatsoever, Alex.
Yeah, coming into the last 90 seconds of qualifying. It's a 60-minute race, 20-minute pit stop window, so opens with 20 minutes completed and with closes with 20 minutes to go. And yellow flags are out. That is for the number 4. That's Kieran Vidago, of all people. Kieran has raced at this circuit before, but at the minute, Charlie Crossland, Rich Smith, Joel Schmidt, Dean Riley, Bobby Trundy, Sean Campbell, Robbie Stapleford, Stuart Ross French, Regan Mitchell, who we're with now out on track, Dominik Alvarez, they complete the top 10, covered by 9/10 of a second. Then it's a further 9,000ths back to Chris Pinchback. Paolo Tempera, who picked up his first points at Monza last time out and was 13th, so took 3 points on the board. Vidago, Neuteling, Simon, Brockies, Lane, Brown, who's Ben Brown yesterday. He said, I'm going to be feeling a little bit better after what we put ourselves through yesterday, because his right foot wasn't feeling too great after the amount of time he was sitting behind the wheel, but he's back out on track, so it's good to have him with us. James Haskell in the Honda, 19th, Luke Pound, Charlie Purr, Sandro Ballesteros, Max Spooner, Daniel Hyde, and James Hall with Michael Tyler rounding out the 26 strong, but we are down to the final couple of seconds. Yellow flags are out. Checkered is out for the session. Charlie Crossland storming his way. Oh, he's just up that by 0.17 of a second to 2/10 between himself and Rich Smith. And at the moment, I'm seeing that Dean Riley's in the pits, Bobby Trunley's in the pits, Sean Campbell, Dominik Alvarez, Chris Pinchbeck, Paulo Tempera, the likes of Stuart. Now, Stuart Ross French is running pretty well. He's currently P8 at the minute, and he's managed to get a couple of points at Monza. And then back at the opening race of the season, he finished P6 as Tim Lane getting a bit sideways there going through Knickerbrook. But it is getting rather close to seeing if anyone is going to improve. Daniel Hyde comes across towards the finish line, and also the checkered flag for the session. Stays 24th. Tim Lane making his way down from Druids Corner to Lodge Corner. There is the number 44 from Red Shell Racing, and there's the sister car, and that is going to be it. So, well, for round 3, Charlie Crossland puts it on pole by over 2/10 of a second, and good to see Rich Smith on the front row this time. Rich Smith, I think, remember what happened in Kyalami? There was a little bit of a coming together between him and Dominik Alvarez, and then Rich Smith found himself sort of hung out to dry, so to speak, and the front end of his Aston Martin hit the left-hand side of the barriers at Monza, but now he's got an opportunity of a straight-out dogfight into Old Hall Corner with Charlie Crossland.
And who's going to pass that up realistically, Alex? That's a tantalising prospect, to say the least. I also noticed our newcomer for this round, James Haskell, 18th position for him. That's a really good first outing. 26 cars doing qualifying. He finishes in 18th position on the grid there. So both him and the team at Dexterous Designs are going to be absolutely delighted with that one. So can't wait to see him making his way through. And like you said earlier, how good is it to see the NSX on the field?
I mean, it's a wonderful car. I mean, it has been successful in real life racing. It's a wonderful staple of this platform, and I said to Corsa Competizione. We aren't far away from getting our rolling lap to get things going here for 1 hour racing, 60 minutes. Okay, so the winner of the race will get a bottle of Copperfield London Dry Gin worth to the tune of £42, and the person that secures the fastest lap will get a pair of eTeam BRIT IMB Racewear gloves. So already, funny enough, David, it's 2 for 2 so far for both, because it's been Dean Riley and Dominik Alvarez that have both won the race and also posted the fastest lap. Is someone going to upset the apple cart here in Oulton Park with regards to either the win or the fastest lap? Are we going to have 2 different people this time?
Well, do you know where we can find the answer? In an hour's time, because we are just about ready to go to the grid. Look at that, as if I'd planned it by magic. We're down to the grid. Alex, why don't you take us through the runners and riders for tonight?
So, pole position for race 3 out of 8, Charlie Crossland from Team Fordzilla in the number 10 Mercedes. Then it's Rich Smith from Simsport Solutions alongside in the 76 Aston Martin. Another Mercedes and Aston Martin row, this time row 2. Joel Schmidt in the 74 from Team Fordzilla, and the Aston Martin of Dean Riley, second in the championship in the 222 Aston Martin. Bobby Trundley puts in a blinder with the number 23 Nissan from Team BRIT Nissan, and then it's Sean Campbell from Divario Corsa in that wonderful green and yellow Divario Corsa Lamborghini. Robbie Staplewood now switching to McLaren. We'll have Stuart Ross French from Red Shell Racing alongside him on row number 4. Completing the top 10, it is Regan Mitchell, who was third last time out at Monza 4 weeks ago, and our Monza victor, Dominik Alvarez from Germany in the 510 from Team Fordzilla. Chris Pinchbeck starts on the inside of row 6 and has the Audi R8 V10 LMS Evo of Paulo Tempera from Portugal in the number 8. Then it's Mark Neutelings in the Bentley and the Ferrari of Kieran Vidaga that completes row number 7. David Simon in the 64 Mercedes will have Tim Lane in the 44 Aston Martin. That's row 8. Bradley Brockies from the eTeam BRIT McLaren and the crew in the 105 will line up 17th, and alongside him X-Kart Esports James Haskell in the first new entrant in the terms of a manufacturer thereof. Honda joins the grid for the first time this season. Ben Brown in the 22 Campsport Fire. McLaren is running solo, no Chris Wilson tonight, and he's got Luke Pound in the 66 Nissan alongside him. Charlie Purr in the 88 Ferrari, Sandro Ballesteros in the number 19 Aston Martin. eTeam Visaro's solo driver tonight, Max Spooner, starts in 23rd position ahead of Cadan Casual Apex's Daniel Hyde in the Lamborghini. Then it is we've got James Hall in the 67 McLaren and Michael Tyler in the 445 Aston Martin. And Bobby Trundley has just said, do I get a cookie for that? Well, Bobby, you're going to have to buy that one for yourself, mate.
I don't know, I might buy him a cookie for that one. I'm Bobby Trundley's biggest fan this season. Goodness me, that's a heck of an effort. Look, just having him up in the top 5, Alex, I'd be very nervous if I was up in that top 10 right now, because there's a lot of fast cars and they are on the run down to that first corner, Old Hall Corner, and both in sim racing and in real life, all hell can break loose at that corner very, very quickly indeed.
Yeah, we are just over 60 seconds away. Good to hear from Aaron Walker and also our very good friend Mr. Edward Porter. Lovely overview shot there of the entirety of Oulton Park. A big thank you to Simsport Solutions for providing the broadcast side of things, and also a big thank you to our live stewarding panel who are awaiting to see what will happen. We will get live stewarding carried out as incidents do occur. We have had a few in the first couple of rounds. We had quite easily, in terms of live penalties, David, we've had 6 at Kyalami. We actually had the first person to have a failure to attend the driver's briefing, but we've had nothing of that. So Luke Pound managed to get himself there on time to the briefing room on this particular occasion. So
I don't think he'll be doing that one again, Alex.
No, once bitten, twice shy, David. Right, 5 seconds to go before we go on a full formation lap. 2.692 miles, 4.307 kilometers, 17 fantastic corners, and we have 13 rows. That's 26 cars, as now Charlie Crossland leads the field away along with Rich Smith. Joel Schmidt could have been in contention for, I don't think, just a podium position at Monza, but could have been going for the overall victory, because was closely behind Dominik Alvarez, who starts in P10. And if you remember that incident, we had Joel Schmidt actually came out of Ascari, the back end thrown skywards thanks to the outside sausage curb, and the front end went into the barriers, and Joel Schmidt, she had no other alternative but just to keep on pushing, and we'll see what the number 74 from Team Fordzilla will do tonight, David.
Yeah, we'll wait with bated breath, but I mean, this is such a classic track for these cars to be going round. I don't think we're going to have any shortage of excitement. The cars are going to be so close together. They're going to be concertinaed up, and I would give it maybe about 5 to 10 laps, Alex, before we see at least 3 or 4 separate groups emerging almost immediately. If you want to be in that top 5, you're going to have to fight for it very, very quickly indeed.
Now comes the time for preparation being key to a lightning fast start on the 2x2 rolling start that we'll have in just a few seconds time, as the field is now making its way out of Shell Oils, as you can see on your screens, and furiously I just saw Charlie Crossland furiously weaving that Mercedes front end from side to side rather quickly coming out of Britain. It is about heating up the tyres, the carcass of the tyre, which then will permeate that heat through to the alloy wheels, and thereby the brakes will be up to temperature. But we are just moments away. David, final thoughts before we go racing?
Look, we're going to be in for a cracker. This has got all the hallmarks to be one of the talking points for the season. It's early enough and it's important enough to be pivotal for the championship.
Right then, not far to go now as they head through Water Tower. So far, we've had 2 different race winners. We've already had 120 minutes of racing. And as things stand, we have had 6 different drivers on the combined 2 podiums so far. Dean Riley, Charlie Crossland, Sean Campbell. That was round 1 at Kyalami. Dominik Alvarez, Robbie Stapleford and Regan Mitchell, round 2 at Monza. How are things going to shape up here at round 3 in the leafy Cheshire countryside at Oulton Park International? 60 minutes on the clock for round 3 of the eTeam BRIT GT Challenge. It's Crossland versus Smith. It's Aston Martin against Mercedes. And now it's a little bit of a wait, but very shortly. Are we ready? And we get the green flag. We are underway, and a great start from Charlie Crossland, who leads the field going into turn 1 and instantly cuts across the front of Rich Smith. And there has been a turnaround. Oh no, don't tell me that's Bobby Trundley, and it's caused absolute havoc behind. Oh no, that is not what happened. Not what I wanted to see, and I know not what no one wanted to happen. And Bobby Trundley has just been punted all the way down to the bottom of the grid, and Paolo Tempera might have been just given a drive-through for an automatically registered jump start.
Well, I don't even know what to say about that one. Poor Bobby. It wasn't even a bad thing that happened really to him. He outbraked himself on the inside of the corner. You saw it over on the left-hand side there, and he just basically careered into the side of a car and then got sent onto the grass and collected about 15 other cars at the same time.
Yeah, and you can see that Chris Pinchbeck's has got damage on that car. That 43 Mercedes not tracking true. Looks like one of the Aston Martins also had an incident. I think that might have been, I'm trying to look at the numbers now, could have... It's so difficult when you see an incident like that, but Sean Campbell is giving chase to Joel Schmidt coming through out of Druids, now into Lodge, and Sean Campbell gave Divario Corsa their first podium, and in the initial minute and a half, this is where things could get rather interesting. But at the moment, it's Crossland that leads from Smith, from Schmidt, Campbell, Stapleford already up into P5, and Stapleford at the moment is about 4 seconds off the leader. But we were talking about the characteristics of some cars. There are some cars that drivers favour. Now, we know that Charlie Crossland is a dab hand with the Mercedes AMG GT3 Evo, and he has showcased that already this season. There's Luke Pound, who's got James Hall behind him. So the other Aston Martin, I think that might have, I'm not too sure if that was Sandro Ballesteros that might have had that dramas, but I'm not too sure. Right, Tyler. Oh yeah, it was Michael Tyler, Chris Pinchbeck, and Max Spooner are now in the pits. So I think I'm not too sure. How is the biggest question I need to ask is really, where is Bobby Trundley's 20th place? There's still a lot of this race to go, but if that car's got significant damage, he's going to pit that very, very soon, won't he?
Yeah, he will. I'm surprised he hasn't actually already, because usually in game it prompts you to get the damage repaired automatically. That you have to actually take that in. So, I mean, that is, I'm absolutely dejected after that start for Bobby. It was such a shame to see that happen, and in all honesty, he may very well get a penalty for that. It wasn't it wasn't a malicious thing, but still, it's pretty hardcore to go into turn 1 on the inside when you're really, if you miss your braking point, what's the worst that's going to happen? Well, the car's going to just career off into the middle of the track, into potentially into other cars. Just want to point out Edward Porter on YouTube. You said hello to him earlier on. I'd like to extend my hellos to him as well. He says, question for me, when speaking about Oulton, about curbs, do you mean esport wise or real life? Both, Edward. Now, I did mention that. So in real life, when you go over the curbs, it has a really weird effect on the car, because when you're on a high-speed corner, so when you're coming out of, for example, turn 3 Cascades, that left-hander, if you let the car drift out to the right-hand side and onto the curbs, it almost pitches the car to the left. It almost gets like lots of extra grip and pushes the car to the left-hand side. Whereas in sim racing, in Assetto Corsa Competizione, for example, if you go over the curbs, you don't really have to worry about that. What you have to worry about is your tyres instantly losing about 1.5 psi from the pressure, and what that ends up doing is that it lends to understeer. The car becomes more difficult to control. You end up using more curbs, and it's a self-perpetuating cycle until eventually your tyre blows out and it's home time.
Good to see Mr. Andy Tucker's in the building as well. He's already made a couple of references to Max Spooner, I see.
I wasn't even going to gratify that with a response.
I've got to do it for the benefit of the doubt. It is
all I'm going to say to that one is safety car. Yeah, we'll leave that one there.
True, we'll leave that one there. I don't think Charlie Purr's taking any further part in this race, because that Ferrari has not gone anywhere and is still in the pits. So I think the Ferrari took significant damage as Ben Brown trying to close in on Bradley Brockies. So we're going to have a look at the replay here. So this is the start phase. Crossland gets a really good jump on Rich Smith, cuts across the front. Trundle, oh yeah, he oh my goodness me, he just literally launched it over the curbs. I'm going to use the following word, and it's one that I'm actually coming to love. He yeeted it over the curbs right there, and the right rear went skyward. It nearly threw him into Dean Riley, and it just caused havoc and pandemonium behind. Oh, good evening to our very good friend, Mr. Chris Buxton. And yeah, behind Trundle, there was Max Spooner getting back going again, so he might have been caught out in the melee.
The problem is, Alex, in all reality, what did he think was going to happen there? He missed his braking point, hit the curb. Of course it's going to launch it in. I tell you what, we need to get Mike Yao on the scene, get another replay of that, and get the Crime Watch team over that one, because that was just, that was brutal. Joking aside... Sorry,
yeah, we'd be hit with a copyright strike if we use that music. Ben Brown's looking rather racy, going side by side towards Lodge Corner alongside Bradley Brockies. Slots back towards behind the number 105. Now, Bradley Brockies was one of the battlers in the AM Championship, which Ben Brown actually won last season. So Bradley Brockies really enjoying it. Now, Bradley actually does like flying in his spare time. He's been training to do a pipe. Right, okay, here's another replay, and that's from what happened. Like, literally, the minute that happened with Bobby Trundle going over the curbs, it caused a major problem. And did you just see the hit that Max Spooner just got from Michael Tyler?
Absolutely flew in the air.
Oh my goodness!
Also, Alex. 90. So we're watching the live timing through Pitwall, and all I see at the corner of my eye, accident involving number 23. Who is number 23?
Bobby Trundle.
Yeah, he had
the biggest development we've got now, Dominik Alvarez is in the pits, but yeah, just wait for it. Okay, they come through, and here comes the Aston. It turned the Lexus into a load rider at the back end with the air suspension, didn't it? Right, okay. First penalty coming through. Car number 22 has just been given a 10-second time penalty for avoidable contact with car 32. So that is Ben Brown in the 22 for avoidable contact on the number 32. And I'm just trying to remember which car that was. There we go. James Haskell, our new entry. So Ben Brown will have a 10-minute additional wait on the pit stop before the car can be worked on. Mark Neuseling's, even with 21 kilos in that Bentley, still running a very credible 13th place. But at the minute, Charlie Crossland is leading the way and has got nearly a 1.4 second advantage over Rich Smith. Sean Campbell up into third place, and I'm sure that Phil Webb, the team boss for Cadan Casual Apex and Divario Corsa, is looking on. I had a really good chat with him at the Simply Race Endurance Series event yesterday, as it's looking rather spicy going through. Ben Brown had to really launch onto the anchors there going through into Shell Oils just to keep it out of the back end of Bradley Brockies, but here comes Mark Neutelings.
Yeah, and this is definitely not an overtaking opportunity here at Oulton Park as you go through the chicane at Hislops. It's then up the run through Knickerbook. It's such a difficult part of the track to do, and especially once you get round here, once you get round the corner, Alex, it's almost impossible to try and get past. You can get the run, but I mean, it's suicide if you try and just outbrake someone into the chicane at Britain's.
Yeah, because I've seen that before. I think I remember, what was it, commentating with our good friend Mr. Lewis McGlade, and it was GT4s at this very circuit, and someone decided to send it through Britain, so it didn't quite work out. So Ben Brown gets up the inside. That's a cheeky little move there, going through Lodge Corner, and he got the run on Brockies. He did the job there. He waited and bided his time.
Yeah, that was a great move. Great to see that happen. Ben is looking so fast in this McLaren. The McLaren's really making a charge up, and yeah, exactly. That's what was on about those curves. They get so close, and it becomes so difficult, Alex, to control the car when you're on them. Two things. One is Robbie Stapleford still up in fifth position, proving what that McLaren is absolutely capable of, and the other thing was Sean Campbell in that number 26 Lamborghini in third place. I have to say, I absolutely love the liveries. I know we don't take an awful lot of time to talk about liveries on this one. I am getting real Caterham / Lotus / Crayola vibes from that livery right now.
Well, also, one of the things that we haven't really touched on that much is the fact that on both the Cadan Casual Apex and the Divario Corsa cars, the Pride flag is on the rear wing end plates, and also there's a mutual friend that actually there's a particular company called Go for the Gap that backs both teams as well. But it's really good to see that Lamborghini has been added to this grid. We are just under 9 minutes away from the pit stop window being open for the third time this season. So at the minute, the way things are running with the points, provisionally it is Charlie Crossland looking for what would be a victory this time around. Rich Smith second, Sean Campbell looking for his second podium in 3 races. Joel Schmidt hasn't scored any points on the podium at all this season. In fourth, Robbie Stapleford, second last time out at Monza. Dean Riley, round 1 winner. Stuart Ross French was in 6th position in the first race at Kyalami. David Simon, who did the biggest shortcut I think we've ever both seen, going through into Crowthorne at Kyalami for round 1, and still managed to keep it on the black stop after going on the dusty grass. In 8th, ahead of Kieran Vidago, Regan Mitchell. There's Stuart Ross French in 7th and is being chased by David Simon, who has got a bit of good turn of pace at the moment. Ben Brown with a 10-second time penalty for the pit stop phase. 11th, Bradley Brocky's 12th, ahead of Mark Neutelings. Luke Pound and Paulo Tempera rounding out the top 15. But keep your eyes on James Hall. He was, at the last intermediate, 1.8 seconds behind, but the Audi looks to be a bit quicker than the McLaren in this particular instance.
Another penalty coming through, Alex. Car 44, that's Tim Lane getting a 10-second penalty for avoidable contact. That is with a 510 of Dominik Alvarez, who is now plumb last after the start of the race. It's a very unfortunate turn of fortune for the number 510, given how well they did in the last race out.
Yeah, and Alvarez has got that car, I'm afraid to say, David, marked in the pits. Real shame for Dominik Alvarez, a second race, and there's another penalty that's just come through. Right, Bobby Trundy gets a 10-second time penalty for avoidable contact with car number 2, Daniel Hyde.
Yeah, that's and I think that's actually very, very generous, or lenient, I think is the word for that. If that's the only penalty he gets for that initial incident, because all hell broke loose because of that first start line. He knows better than that.
And good to see that Jack Ashton, Team Fordzilla teammate to the likes of Charlie Crossland and to David Simon as well. Jack was alongside both Charlie and Sean Arnold yesterday, but Dean Riley looking to close that gap. And the way things are going at the minute, if Charlie Crossland wins this race, this puts him on what will be 56 points coming out of this round. P6 is only a net 10 points, so that will extend the gap between Crossland and Riley by a considerable margin. But what I'm looking at it from this perspective, this could also bring Sean Campbell into the mix as well, because Campbell had a third at Kyalami, and then at Monza he had P7 finish, so 9 points. So that's 25 points. That's going to help him no end. That will put him on 41. So you could say that Dean Riley could be very much under pressure, as now that's the case with Bradley Brockies, who's got Mark Neuslings in that Leviathan from Crew, the Bentley Continental GT3, and the Dutch driver gets through for the first corner at Old Hall, and he gets the job done. We've got another penalty coming through. This is going to be more than Monza. I'll tell you this one, David, or Kyalami. Car 2, Daniel Hyde. 10-second time penalty for avoidable contact with car number 44. That is Tim Lane from Red Shell Racing. And Tim Lane is in the pits.
Yeah, so Tim Lane will be serving his, or getting a penalty as well for earlier on. And we've got a Fordzilla car. I'm sure that was a Fordzilla in the barrier there, just recovering off it. Who on earth was that? Just recovering, that was the 64.
That's David Simon, who was in 8th place. Oh no, that is... And you were saying about how tight this circuit is. It is ultra tight, and you can't make mistakes. And this circuit, if it bites back hard. And I think David Simon's just found out he's got the wrong end of the stick now.
That's a weird one, though, for him to be on the inside of Shell Oil Corner. I would put a lot of money on the fact that he's went on the grass at the exit of the Island Bends and went straight off into the wall there and just had to try and bring that car back round. I've just seen another car retiring off. I think that might have been, was that the 63 there, or was that Regan Mitchell that got round there? I'm not sure, but we'll have a look at that. But yeah, look, that is a big moment, and he's going to have big damage on that car.
Yes, indeed. So we are getting through. So we're going to have a look at a replay here. And that is David Simon. So Stapleford comes through, Riley comes through, then it's Stuart Ross French and David Simon. That is going through Island Bend, and he's just lost the back end. It's just stepped away from him. Yeah, that's one of the fastest parts on the circuit, and you don't want to lose the back.
Something else has got to have happened here, though, Alex. For the speed that he was coming out there, he tries to rejoin. I wonder if he's collected another car on the way round. I said in the previous show that someone at one point actually beached it. It is one of the competitors in this championship. I'm not going to mention it because I know who it was, and they'll probably give me the beatdown for it. But it was just like the way he just went into that corner. I think there was it was that particular race that I was just talking about, and there were multiple cars that just completely got it wrong. A lot of them were Ferraris as well. But now Dean Riley's closing in on Robbie Stapleford, heading into Druids, and the Aston Martin neatly up the inside of the McLaren 720S GT3. Robbie Stapleford tries to capitalise and counter-attack, but Dean Riley stays to the left and then goes over to the right-hand side, now covers off. And that was a good move from Dean Riley, putting him up into 5th place, which at the moment will net him a further 11 points. Alex, we've lost Regan Mitchell. Car number 69 is nowhere to be found on the timing screens, and he's shown as retired from the race.
Yeah, I'm just going to have a look now. Yes, now he is. That is at the far part of the circuit, so between Clay Hill and Water Tower, where the car is actually where the car was at the time of when it happened. So that is a real shame. And we've got Luke Pound, who is trying to close in on David Simon. So David Simon back on the comeback trail. Just over 90 seconds to go until the pit stop window opens for round 3 out of 8 for season 3 of the eTeam BRIT GT Challenge. If you have not liked or shared or subscribed wherever you're watching, please don't forget to do so. It does help us all out respectively. You can also go to @eTeam BRIT on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We are even on LinkedIn, and you can also head to our official website as well. In the meantime, a big thank you to all the partners and sponsors such as the Douglas Bader Foundation. Also, Grid Finder. We are an approved Grid Finder league, so you can actually register on there. IMB Racewear, who support eTeam BRIT directly, headed up by Mike Pittman. Cheshire, the Jet Wash Company, also a part of it. Odyssey Batteries, part of the partners behind the main team as well. We can't do this without the likes of companies such as Simsport Solutions, the Surrey Copperfield London Dry Gin Distillery as well, Texaco, amongst others. If you do want to get on in the action, there are spaces. We know there has been some interest. Good afternoon to Jack Ashton as well. Mate, come on, jump on in, join the fun. Would love to have you with us. There is also the Discord link as well, and if you are interested, get in touch via the eTeam BRIT social medias, and we'll see if we can talk about you and maybe even speak to you if you hit the podium here on the eTeam BRIT GT Challenge. Right, time is now 40 minutes to go, and already we've had someone dive into the pit lane. That looked to be Bobby Trundley, so he's going to get that. He's going to get that hurt out of the way, David. He's going to get rid of that 10 seconds, get the pit stop done, and then go for it.
Yeah, great to see that, actually, because that's a nice thing to see, that he's taking the pit stop immediately, Alex. Get the extra weight out of the way and just try and catch up with it. Now, Bathurst battled though for third and fourth position. Sean Campbell desperately trying to keep the... Well, he's lost that position, has he? He's actually just behind now the number 74 of Joel Schmidt. So that's happened earlier on in the track. Now, that has reversed right, because Campbell was in third, then was in fourth a little bit, then back down to fourth just now. So these two have just been trading places left, right and centre. But the great thing is that they're just dragging each other round. And they're not losing too much time, I wouldn't say, to the likes of Riley behind them. But they're certainly a quarter mile off of Rich Smith and Charlie Crossland up in first and second place. Crossland, though, starting to get a tiny little bit of a gap as we see a wiggle there from Sean Campbell at Shell Earl's corner.
Robbie Stapleford has pitted early. Bobby Trundy we saw literally going bang on the button. And James Hall from eTeam BRIT McLaren has also decided to pit early. And it looks like James Hall... Now, I see that Trundley's in the pits for a little bit of a lengthy time. I would imagine that's probably to counteract not just the 10 seconds. That car is having a bit of damage repaired on it. James Haskell now pits from 15th place in the Honda NSX, which has got a 45 kilo weight added to it because it's a new starter. And thank you very much, Jack. I'm really glad to hear that. I do like ACC, so if I do get involved, this will be the first option. That's wide and then some. Coming out of Druid's corner, Sean Campbell, take a bow, kept the throttle pinned in the Lamborghini Huracan. That could have been ever so messy had he not kept his foot stuck in like that.
Well, that was a bit of a moment and a half. Change of underwear, please, for our car in fourth place. But he's barely lost any time at all, has he? He's already making the move and trying to catch up. We see a bit of a moment there for the 19 of Sandro Ballesteros there, down in 14th position there. That was at Shell Oil's corner as well. Catches so many of these drivers out. But Sean Campbell here doing a cracking job of holding on, not just to that slide, but also to that position, Alex.
Yeah, and we've got apparently Charlie Crossland's biggest fan. Welcome along, Gianmarco Fiducci. And Jack goes, so he must be part of the Team Fordzilla crew, I would have thought. Good that Scott Ratchford has now joined in, saying, come on SJ, just go for it. So probably might be relating to Sean Campbell, depending on if Sean has a middle name. But we are 36 minutes and 45 seconds still to go in this third race out of 8. 4 weeks time, Mount Panorama on the 18th of October will bring us to the halfway point of the season. But it is Charlie Crossland leading Rich Smith by 8.2 seconds. Joel Schmidt battling away with Sean Campbell for third place. Dean Riley in fifth. Stuart Ross French. Kieran Vidago. Ben Brown, Mark Neutlings, David Simon, Bradley Brockes, Luke Pound, Paolo Tempera, Robbie Stapleford is the highest placed driver that has made their mandatory pit stop. There's only one required. And Sandro Ballesteros making a return to the championship for round 3 in the number 19 Aston Martin, currently P15, as we see on our screens. Bradley Brockies being chased by there's James Haskell, who will have fresher tyres on that car, but Bradley Brockies has yet to opt to pit.
And this is the fantastic thing about the eTeam BRIT Challenge, is the fact that you get such a mix of talent on the grid at the same time. And up the front, obviously we see the likes of Charlie Crossland and Joel Schmidt and Dean Riley constantly up the front. My goodness me, Alex, how close was Bradley Brockies to that wall on the entry into to pit lane there? But it's just a wonderful advert for the championship. It really is. And you mentioned there about joining. If you do see what we're doing here tonight and you do want to get on board, please do, because you could not ask for a friendlier bunch of racers to be spending your spare time with. And the banter on the Discord is fantastic. The jibes that they give each other during the race as well, during the voice chat, is absolutely hilarious, especially if Bobby Trundley's on there. Although I think he might be being a little bit quiet tonight, Alex. I don't know. What do you think on that one?
I think he's got to keep the blinkers on like a prized racehorse. Now, I've had a look at how things in terms of the Drivers' Championship. Now, coming into this round, Crossland was on 31, Riley was on 30. The way things are now, Dean Riley will pick up 11 points for finishing in 5th place. That will give him 41 points. Charlie Crossland will up that gap by another 14 points if he goes on to victory here at Oulton Park. So don't forget, you can get involved via the Discord server. Jack Ashton is also just egging on David Simon, who's looking towards the inside. That's close between him and Mark Neutzelings. Neutzelings just stays out of trouble, but a little bit of a wiggle from the rear of the 555. Mark Neutzelings was lucky to get away with that one, but I think David Simon put the pressure on and managed to get through.
Yeah, and that is fantastic stuff to see. Just having a look actually at the order that we've got just now. Rich Smith in 2nd place and Joel Schmidt in 3rd. But what has happened to that gap? Has Rich, surely that's not been a pit stop that Rich has done in 2nd place, because that gap was, remember, 2 seconds, and now it's up to 8.6 there. So I know Charlie Crossland fast. We see Charlie quite regularly, but I know he's not that fast.
Yeah, when I initially came across Charlie Crossland for the first time, rather rapid young man. He's a bit more composed these days, but he was very ultra aggressive in his driving style. I mean, especially going for overtakes. But now I think it's either one or two things. Either Charlie Crossland at the moment has been lapping about a 10th slower than Rich Smith. It could be that either one or two things has happened, as Dean Riley has just pitted from P5 with 32 minutes and 40 to go. It's either that Crossland's got the wind beneath his wings, or Rich Smith has had a bit of a drama. I'll be interested to find that out from Rich after the race.
I think it's going to be the latter, because the pace that Charlie's got is fantastic, and it's absolutely not to take anything away from him, but they're already on that bleeding edge, whereas maybe they'll get 1 or 2 or 3 tenths of a second, but certainly not 2 seconds per lap enough of an advantage. So I think something had happened there to Rich. He's got the thing going again, so we'll have to find out there. But what a battle this is from Sean Campbell, and I've got to give a lot of respect to both Joel and to Sean right now, because the two of them have been going at this for the past 10 laps or 12 laps or so, but they're not doing anything stupid. Sean's doing a real golden example of attacking driving here. He's looking but not pushing too hard. Now, is this going to be an example? This is the number 76, so this is through the second chicane, and it's on the right hander there. Does he go too wide? There you go. There's a perfect example of those. Oh, and a little bit. I think he'll get away with that. I don't think that was too bad. But Alex, that's a perfect example of why you don't want to go on those curbs here at Oulton Park.
Right, Sean Campbell has just pitted from 4th place in the Divario Corsa Lamborghini Huracan GT3 Evo. So the battle is off for now, but then it's dependent on when Joel Schmidt decides to blink from 3rd place. Paolo Tempera chasing down the 66 of Team BRIT Nissan's Luke Pound. Now, one of the interesting things that we have... Oh, Regan Mitchell's had a disconnect with the server. Oh, Regan, I'm so sorry for you, mate. Myself and David, we are absolutely aggrieved that has happened, but that is part and parcel of what happens in sim racing. But I must give credit to this Portuguese man of war, the number 8 from Luzcar, Paulo Tempera, giving Luke Pound an absolute big amount of pressure through this battle. And this is for effectively what is P10 on the road at the moment.
Yeah, it's big pressure being applied to the back of Luke Pound right now, and the pair of them 40 seconds behind Campbell in that Lamborghini. So this is all you can do, Alex, here at Oulton Park, is apply that pressure, have a look at the car in front, see where it's vulnerable, see where it's open to attack, and then try and take your chance. But 10 minutes left to go in the pit window as well. I'd be more instinctive to, if you can't get past them, just get into the pits, get some fresh boots on, and try and do the undercut.
Yeah, and especially when you won't have to put so much fuel into the car. As now Rich Smith from P2 pits with 9 3/4 minutes to go on the pit stop window, and then it'll be a 20-minute dash to the finish line. And Joel Schmidt, she now pits from P3. So the number 74 from Team Fordzilla now jumps into the pit lane. But this battle here between Paulo Tempera from Portugal and Luke Pound in the number 66 Nissan is absolutely enthralling to watch. Again, it just goes to show, David made a point of this at round 2 at Monza, that this is something that we really like here. And two drivers that were teammates, they're not anymore. So Sandro Ballesteros and Bradley Brockies. eTeam BRIT Aston Martin versus eTeam BRIT McLaren, and Brockies is ahead at the moment, but Brockies is on fresher tyres, so Ballesteros will have just let him get past and maybe will be running his own race. Ballesteros, based out of Rochdale, actually is an ex-kart driver, so which is where Matty Street is actually based in, Rochdale. I actually work with Matty personally with the Cadet Kart Championship, and also with X-Kart in terms of social media provision. So good to see that X-Kart is being represented in this championship. But Ben Brown, currently P4, he's really done a good job with keeping the lap times as they are. And one of the impressive things, I mean, Ben said to me via Discord Messenger earlier on today, he said, I don't think we picked the right car with the McLaren. Well, he's making it work.
It's a you can understand why he said that though, Alex, because the McLaren, it feels sometimes like a bit of a wounded horse. It's a beautiful car, it's a fast car, but it doesn't seem to just gel at some of these circuits. Going with the Mercedes or going with the Aston Martin feels like an easy option for a lot of these teams. It's a good package, it's a fast package, it's a stable package, but some people want to try something different. They want to go with the McLaren, is what I was trying to say there, and they're proving it. Ben Brown doing a cracking job. Not just Ben Brown, look at Robbie Stapleford. I mean, for the good part before the pits there, Robbie Stapleford in fifth position. So yeah, good outing so far for the McLarens. Might not have the easiest journey like say the Aston Martins or the Mercedes, but a good effort nonetheless, and definitely one to showcase their driving talent.
Doesn't matter where he is, up the field or down the field, Bobby Trundy always excites them round the outside before they've even gotten through the apex of Lodge Corner. Bobby Trundy on fire as well. We go back now to this battle. This is Joel Schmidt versus Dean Riley, the battle for P8 on the road. But at the moment, with a lot of the drivers, well, 6 out of the top 7 remaining drivers at the sharp end of the field have not pitted. But Crossland is now in on what is now lap number 22 of this race. Stuart Ross French has kept the Red Shell Racing number 28 Aston Martin out for a long time. And it looks like the long game also for Kieran Vidago, Ben Brown, Mark Neutlings, Luke Pound in 7th place ahead of this battle here, Joel Schmidt and Dean Riley. And bit of a mistake there from Riley. That's not what he wanted. And there is Sean Campbell trying to close in. And there you can see Charlie Crossland off the air jacks now. Rumbling down pit lane goes the number 10 from Team Fordzilla Blue. And now he'll cross the pit lane limiter line and then he'll be able to punch it. So Stuart Ross French with that. Have you seen the roof of his car? He's got the Aussie flag on it. Bravo, my friend. That's one way to represent your nationality there.
Yeah, that is exactly how you do it. The other is by doing a shoey when you win the race. So we'll see if one of those two happens. Yeah.
And then pass your shoe to somebody else and says,
that gave me the absolute heebie-jeebies watching that. But never mind. Congratulations nonetheless. Charlie Crossland, though, back out on track just ahead of Ben Brown. This is not for position. This is an artificial moment at the moment because Ben Brown still has to pit, as does Kieran Vidago and Stuart Ross French, along with Luke Pound and Mark Neutlings. Everybody else has pitted though. 5 minutes 15 left to go in the pit window, 25 minutes left to go in the race. Where on earth is the past 35 minutes gone, Alex?
Well, you said that more times than I could shake a stick at yesterday. And to be honest with you, this is it's just like a minute moment in time, isn't it? But it's really good because there's been quite a lot of action around here at Oulton Park. You said it was a tight technical circuit. It's proving it in spades. And now Luke Pound is fending off artificially at the moment Joel Schmidt, but they're coming under through Clay Hill, through to Water Tower, and that Nissan in the hands of Luke Pound is really, I mean, it is the woulda, coulda, shoulda situation with Bobby Trundy had he not had that accidental yeet over the curbs, as Joel Schmidt now goes side by side with the Nissan into Lodge Corner. Late on the brakes goes the German driver, up the inside through into Lodge and gets through but runs a little bit wide. But here comes Dean Riley as now Luke Pound pulls it into pit lane.
Yeah, had to be done, and if that was me and being Joel Schmidt, I would have been making sure that I was aware he was going to have to pit anyway, because now Dean Riley is right on the back bumper at the moment of this one. The other thing about that is that when those cars do come out of pit lane, it's now completely changed the perplexion of the race, as Dean Riley doing a little bit of lawn mowing there, I think, out of Cascades on the run down to Island Bend. Glad he's got it all in the black stuff here, because that is not a place you want to be on the entry to that corner. But how much pressure is Joel Schmidt under right now in that Fordzilla number 74?
He arrives on the 26 Divario Corsa Lamborghini. Sean Campbell is closing in. He was a second off Riley on the previous intermediate, so this time the gap will be down, probably to the best part of nearly half that. So very shortly we'll get an indication on the next intermediate. But yeah, Sean Campbell is absolutely gunning for them, and Stuart Ross French and Kieran Vidago pit on lap number 24 with 3 minutes to go. Ben Brown is, by my calculations, the last driver to actually pit. Now, Ben Brown at the moment, I'm just going to find out where he is out on track at the minute. He's just gone through the avenue and into Denton. So if I was Ben Brown, I think this lap I'm going to need to pit.
Yeah, it's too close now for comfort. There's no gain really to be had to stretch that out for another lap. So yeah, I'd definitely be taking that out of the window at this point in time. And let's face it, I mean, he's the only one still to come out of the pits now. So that will probably, I would imagine, take him down to about 7th or 8th place.
Yep, so just 2.25 minutes to go. And there's a little bit of dust being kicked up once again by Dean Riley, who's got Sean Campbell right with him. That gap was 1 second. It's a lot closer than that as they go through Shell Oil's corner. And it's now the battle for what is effectively going to be the final step on the rostrum, and leading the way in this is Joel Schmidt, who has been close but not close enough. Monza was a disaster for the number 74 from Team Fordzilla Orange, but look at Sean Campbell, pulls to the outside of Dean Riley as they go down Hilltop into Hislops. Riley keeps it defensive, through into the chicane, now through into Knickerbrook. A little bit of dust kicked up by the left rear of the Lamborghini of Campbell, but Campbell will keep on pushing through Clay Hill. Up to the water tower and then into Druids as Chris Pinchbeck battling away. He's trying to go round the outside of Daniel Hyde, and that is for 18th position. And Pinchbeck's got to get the move done by Britons. That is absolutely glorious as Ben Brown pits from P2.
That was a bit naughty, wasn't it? I mean, that's just like, you might as well just disconnect after something like that happens. You're just like, oh, come on, really? That is supreme driving skill from both drivers, it has to be said, for that to happen.
Sorry, I'm going to cut across you here. Right, okay, Charlie Crossland might be leading the race, but the fastest lap of the race is now in the hands of Rich Smith. 1 minute 33.354. So, oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Now we have 35 seconds until the pit stop window closes. So Charlie Crossland leads on lap number 25 by nearly 10 seconds from Rich Smith, who has the fastest lap in his pocket in the number 76. But this great battle here between Schmidt, Riley, and Campbell for the final step on the rostrum doesn't seem having any signs of slowing down now.
No, it really, really doesn't. Also, to put some context on the fastest lap from Rich Smith, Charlie Crossland though did a 1:33.609, so he did his fastest lap of the race as well. So the gain was 0.3 of a second. The problem with that being is that Charlie Crossland has yet again for Fordzilla has all the aces up his sleeve. 20 minutes left to go. I mean, we are looking very, very good right now if you're in Team Fordzilla.
Yeah, pretty much what we saw you and I yesterday for the Simply Race Endurance Series. But the thing is that what we are now going to really be concentrating on, we don't, Charlie Crossland and Rich Smith, they are, well, Rich Smith is about quite a few seconds ahead of this battle. Call that nearly 15 seconds. But Joel Schmidt hanging on about 1.1 seconds ahead of Dean Riley. Now, Dean Riley will gather another 2 points, so that will put him on 43. So it puts the championship gap between the top two in the standings to 13 points in favour of Charlie Crossland. And they've gotten past, that is one of the Cadan Casual Apex cars, so that will be Daniel Hyde, because Hamish Eisner has not been able to attend tonight. So we still have 21 out of the 26 cars that took to the grid a little while ago. So we've got the 67, that is James Hall, that has just brought out the yellow flag, and that was coming through, I think that was Druids.
No, was it not? Oh no, it was Druids. You're absolutely spot on. I was going to say it's Old Hall Corner, but clearly you've got...
Oh, hang on a second here, though. What on earth was that from Paolo Tempera? Oh my goodness. He literally went side door to side door with Brady Brockies. Here's Campbell. He's really giving Riley a run for his money. And that is going through into Druids.